All right. So back to the agenda. The secure website is also used as a place for us to upload your end of the year annual reports, any plan documents or anything such that we prepared that year for you so that you may go out to the secure website and pull that down. We are obviously going to go over the actual census request, where to start if you're brand new or just want a great refresher, what to include on the census, and then my favorite topic, but they're only part-time. So we're going to talk about considered part-time employees and why that is going to be a topic that you're going to want to pay attention to going forward if you don't already. And then finally, we're going to talk about securely uploading your census, again, where you go to log in, and if you forgot your user ID and password. So let's go ahead and start with our secure website. There's two different ways that you can access this website. Most of you have seen before, we send out an annual data request every year at the year end of the plan we'll be working on, requesting all that wonderful information that is repeated from year to year that we love to get from you. In this email, there is an embedded secure website link. You can click on that link and it directly takes you to our secure website. Here you'll see the logon screen. You'll input your user ID as well as your password to log in, and then you will go to our landing page. The other way that you can access our secure website is through Definiti's website. If you go out to definiti.com, up on the right-hand side, you'll see a tab that basically says account access. And if you click on that and drop down, you will choose the employer compliance. This also will take you directly to our secure website. So if that annual data request email for some reason, didn't get through to you, was, got lost in your emails, because Lord knows we have a lot of those, you can always go out to our website and access our secure website from there as well. So we want to give you both of those options. And we will get into getting your user ID and your password. So never fear, we will talk about that. So let's just assume right now everybody knows their user ID and password. Once you put that in, a box will click up and it will ask you who you are. So basically you're going to check the plan sponsor, because you're the plan sponsor, hit submit. And it's going to take you to our landing page. And on this landing page up at the top, you'll select the Administrative Services tab, and then click on Plan Documents and Reports to find everything that you'll need for the current plan year end. When you click, you'll click on the applicable year end to what we're working on for this. So for instance, we will be sending out the request for the 12/31/2021 plan year end shortly for December plan year ends. You'll click on that plan year end and you should see files available for download that we've put out there for you. And it should say specifically download the census to begin. If for some reason it's not there, I'm going to say this a million times today, please contact your retirement plan consultant. That is what we're here for. We would be most happy to direct you to make sure that it's put on there and you're in the right place looking for the right item. So once you have the census and it's downloaded, it'll be in an Excel spreadsheet format. And if you're a previous client, it should already be pre-filled with last year's basic census data. Should have the social security numbers you provided, all of the employees' names, dates of birth, dates of hire, dates of termination, and dates of rehire from the previous plan year end. What that means to you, less input. So you'll just go through and you'll, add new dates of hire, add new employees, so on and so forth. If you have a brand new plan or you're a brand new client, welcome. And unfortunately, the first time you're going to need to input this census, all of this information. And yes, it can be tedious, we know, but once again, this is the starting point for us to do all of our compliance work. So while it's tedious, it's very important that we get the best information possible, the most accurate information possible for you. I just want to stop and pause here for a second. I know many clients use an outside payroll source, such as Paychecks, Paylocity, online QuickBooks. A lot of these payroll providers have a spreadsheet or a report that should be available for download to you with all of that census information encompassed. It may not be in our format, but it's a lot easier for you to request it or to pull that census and upload it to us in lieu of filling out our spreadsheet versus sending W-2s and having us transcribe and input all that information. The less human contact we all have with all this information, the less errors we have. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Hopefully it'll be a 0.0001 mistake if it's made. But if you have the availability to pull that report from your payroll company, we'll gladly take that as well, as long as it's in a Excel, some type of format that we can transfer over. If you have any questions for that, it's not our specialty. Obviously, we're not a payroll company, but I'm sure that your plan consultant might be able to direct you. You'll call somebody at your payroll company and see if that option is available with whatever package you have. I just wanted to throw that out there. So, what to include? I could talk about census all day. I'd love to hear myself talk. So I'm going to say some things that are probably pretty remedial and repetitive, but here we go. All of our system, our compliance system tracks this data information. And this is huge for us because this is how we keep you in compliance. So it's important that all of this census information, as much as possible, be given to us so that we can accurately track everything. Full social security numbers, those really are needed towards the end of the participant's life in the plan per se, or if they're taking a distribution or some type of withdrawal or loan, we'll need that social security number for verification at the place that holds the assets for the plan. Full names of all employees, and I'll get into that a little bit down the line here. And most clients that I work with are very, very good at just giving us that whole rundown. And here again, if you have availability to pull a census report from your payroll company, it will pull everybody. It's becoming much more apparent that, full-time versus part-time, there's some lines that we're very separative in this, and they're coming together. So we do need a whole list, even if you feel that they're only seasonal or part-time, of the employees. Their dates of birth, their dates of hire, their dates of termination, and importantly, my last tab here is dates of rehire. Many companies have different projects or different times of the year when they have seasonal employees or extra employees come on and help. They may work on a project, they're terminated, and then maybe 3 months later they come back. This is fine, but if you do have rehires, please provide us the latest or the most recent rehire date. We will ask questions, when we receive the census based on the census from last year. So not trying to be the little principal here and tell you you're going to have a slap in the hand. That's not the case. But this is our job, is to go through and scrub the census and ask you these questions to make sure, once again, we have the most accurate data as possible. Some companies are large enough or have different locations. If this is applicable, you'll give us the location of the company per which census you're sending. I want to stop and talk a little bit about this officers and owners, along with the ownership percent. This may seem silly to some or confusing, but this is very important to us to help determine who the highly compensated or the HCEs are, as well as who the keys are for the company. As most of you know, HCEs and keys drive our testing, right? And that's how we keep you in compliance with the non-discrimination testing. I'm going to oversimplify a lot of things here, but every year we just need to verify, John Black is the 100% owner of X company. The next year, it might be John Black is 49% owner and Sally Sue is the 51% owner. It's important to us, as well as listing who the spouses and children are. I know in some of the previous sessions this week, they talked about not directly attribution, but there's attribution rules that go down for who the HC and the keys are for the company. This is a base point for us to determine who that is, and we'll work with you one-on-one to make sure that we have the applicable information we need. Another thing, this isn't on my point, but I did also want to bring up on our data request sheet. I know this is not census related. I'll get there, I promise. If the owners that are listed, or officers that are owners and officers that are listed for the company, the current company we have the plan for, own another company, it's important that we get that information as well. And that's something that's not necessarily presented or on the forefront of your mind when you're doing the census. But it's important to realize or try to remember that if the owner, let's say, owns another company, is 100% owner of another company, and they may or may not have direct relation with whatever the company does has the plan, those employees, if he has employees in that other company, would be considered to be eligible if they meet the criteria for this plan. And so it's important for us to know if there are any other companies that we should be asking questions about to make sure that we're covering, the right employee base for the plan and keeping it in compliance. I know I'm going to be going over a lot, so please, if you do have any questions, like I said, it's going to be more of a broad overview, and that pretty much is because every document, once we get into like the different types of compensation, which is my next tab, it might be different for each company, for each company's plan. And so I would much rather speak with you, or your plan consultant after the fact to make sure that we're giving you the correct information based on your adoption agreement and what it states in there. So the next tab is gross compensation. So total gross compensation, there's 3 different types of compensation that we use that are within the plan document and so that is the W-2 comp, the 3401A wages, or the 415 compensation. And depending on what is listed in your adoption agreement and checked, there are different things to include and not include in this compensation. Many of you probably have already had this discussion at one point in time. I'm not going to go into what is included and excluded because it's a very vast and long list, but this is something that we would also go over with you as a plan consultant to make sure that you're providing us, or if we need that information and we see that it's marked, we'll verify with you. So bear with us. We're not trying to, be annoying, a pain in the side, but we want to make sure that we have, like I said, over and over again, the most accurate information as possible. Also, that is earned income for a K1, Schedule C earnings, line 31, before any tax deductions. So compensation is huge, and we'll be happy as the plan consultant for your case to go over what that entails. If you've got any questions at all, please call us. We would much rather you call us when you're filling this out and help you with it than have you be frustrated and have to go back a lot of times to try and find and pull information. There's another tab that talks about excluded compensation on my slides. This is another area in the plan document that is marked where for certain tests we can exclude certain types of compensation. Some plan documents don't exclude anything. Others exclude certain things like fringe benefits, HCE compensation, different benefit packages that might be available to only certain HCEs in the company. If your plan excludes any specific compensation, it'll be in that adoption agreement. And once again, we're happy to go over that with you as well. I know that this is what we do for our livelihood and we love it. I like to say that we're pension geeks, but this isn't something that you're going to focus on every day because you have a million other things to do. So we understand that when you're preparing your census, you may look at something and go, what is that again? So please feel free to call us. I know that the beginning of your plan, your calendar year is very, very busy, just like it is for us, but we'll be happy to take some time out and help you with any questions you have on compensation. And then the last on this slide is participation compensation. Basically, there's two boxes on the plan adoption agreement. When a participant becomes eligible to be in the plan dictates whether you will use full year's compensation or only compensation from the point that they enter the plan. This is important to you as a plan sponsor, because if your plan has participant compensation, what you will be contributing that first year likely will be less, obviously, because it'll be less compensation versus the full year of compensation. So this is something that we internally will go through. And if we don't see, if we see somebody should have entered 7/1 and we don't have that compensation as of that date, we'll send you an email and we'll request that information for you. As always, we're available for any questions, but most of the time, like I said, if we don't see it, we'll go ahead and we'll email you for that and that information. Actual hours worked. I know that several companies have, salaried employees, which definitely work over 1,000 hours. A lot of time the owners of the company work way more than 1,000 hours. But it's become very important because of the Secure Act and a regulation that passed that all hours be tracked. Before it was important, but now it's become a forefront, and I'll get into that here shortly. So it's important that you put actual hours worked. If you don't track the salary people and they work over 1,000, you can put 1,001. But for your other ancillary employees that maybe work under 1,000, you'll need to start tracking how many hours, or find a method to track how many hours that they've worked. The 401k deferrals, obviously, that's part of your payroll. So that'll need to be put in the census. That's part of how we match up what you told us that you withheld and what was withheld and what was at the institution that holds the assets. Any employer matching contributions, if applicable, and any other contributions that were made during the plan year. This just gives us once again, a stepping point to say, okay, I see they've done the Safe Harbor employer contributions. I have also seen that they've done X. If we have any questions, we can start from there. And we're trying to get all of this information in one foul swoop, so we're not sending you a million emails throughout the next following weeks. My favorite topic, but they're only part-time. So like I mentioned before, a lot of companies will hire seasonal, they'll have different projects that they hire and terminate and rehire people for. And in the past, the adoption agreement allowed you to say, it's going to exclude any, specific types of people. And then if they didn't meet the eligibility to get in the plan, whether it be elapsed time 3 months or whether it be 1 year of service and 1,000 hours, those part-time, as many of us usually refer to them, employees just weren't eligible to ever enter the plan. And in my 20 years plus of doing administration and consulting, I know that for a lot of companies that they weren't usually included, especially if they only work, let's just say, 500 hours or, 20 hours. So this is changing. The Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement, which is our Secure Act, changes how we view our part-time employees or those employees that are not salary or full-time over 1,000. So I'm going to state a few facts, and then I encourage you to attend the session tomorrow. Our ERISA attorney, Brooke, is going to be speaking about this in more detail. So I'm not going to take her thunder, but the new regulation for these part-time employees are companies, if you're not already doing so, you're going to need to start tracking those actual hours worked for all employees. As I stated earlier and just now, it's going to become very, very important that you do so, because employees who have worked between 500 and 999 hours for the last 3 consecutive years are going to be able to participate in your 401k plan. Before you get all excited, it's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the earliest that any employee could enter the plan and defer is going to be in 2024, okay? But the tracking starts in 2021. They are only going to be eligible to participate in the deferral, the 401k deferral portion of the plan. So any other employer contribution that you make to the plan, these rules are not subject to that. So they won't get safe harbor contributions. They won't get any profit sharing contributions. They won't get any employer matching contributions if you have that and you do that on an annual basis, if those particular rules haven't been met. So translation is, it's actually good for your ADP test to allow these other participants, if they should choose to defer in. It's going to increase your deferral percentage for the people who are deferring in your plan. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just going to be a different view of looking at who you give the SPD to, who you give an enrollment form to. Because before, you may not have considered those seasonal people as employees that could be eligible to participate in the plan. Whereas starting in 2024, if they've consistently worked, let's say 600 hours, give or take, for the last 3 years, come 2024, they're going to be able to enter whatever your entry dates are to participate in the 401k deferral part. So also, it could be used as a great incentive for those seasonal employees to, come back and continue to do projects for you, because they have an opportunity to put money into a great retirement plan. It's a great benefit. So as I stated in tomorrow's session with our ERISA attorney, she's going to go into a lot of more detail. So I would strongly suggest that you log on and listen to what she has to say about this regulation and how it will work within the adoption agreement. So now we're going to go to securely uploading your census. And I will just go ahead and state, I'm not Philip, I'm not a technical guru, but I do know a few basic facts about how to keep everything safe. So where to go again? Once again, within that annual data request that we send every year, there's going to be a secure link that when you click on it, it's going to take you directly to the logon page for our secure website. You can also go onto Definiti.com and you can go to Account Access Employer Compliance, and then you can get to that same logon screen. Once you're there, you're going to see a little lock on the website address bar up at the top. This means that the website connection is secure. I know it's remedial information, but it's so super important. And hopefully many of you know this from other transactions that you do with other, banking account sites and so on and so forth. Same thing here. Any information that's uploaded or downloaded to our website is private when you're using this site. Once that lock appears, and anybody can jump in on my side if I'm incorrect here. But if you don't see that lock, please, please, please do not upload anything and call us immediately, because something is not right and it's not secure to do so. I have put on my slide, you can always email us at Gemini@definiti-llc.com. That's also listed on the logon page, as well as I believe in the email that we send. Or as always, please call your retirement plan consultant. That's what we're here for. If you're having issues with anything, if something doesn't look right, call us. We may not have the answer right away, but we can get you in touch with somebody who can get it correct. We would much rather have you send everything secure and you feel good about it, versus you just sending it because you're under a deadline. I want to make sure that everybody understands this whole day is talking about cybersecurity and how important that information is. And you should feel very confident and very comfortable with providing this information to us with all of the different securities that we have set up in place. We know it's very important to you. we want you to know that we take our absolute best care to make sure that that stays securely, safely with us once it gets to us, and any form, whether it be the secure website or whether it be on share file. And it's always good practice, and Philip had mentioned this as well, not to send any sensitive or private information through the general email. If you're not on a secure site, there is possibility that somebody could, hack into the information or grab that, and that's the least, that's the last thing you want to have happen. So, if you're having problems with the secure website, you could also upload something to us through share file if you're in dire need to get us something securely right away. But I would encourage you to call your retirement plan consultant as well. We want to make sure that you have that secure connection with us and you can access it at any time to get any information that you guys need. So please, please, please do not ever hesitate to call us. We are here for you. That is our job. So once you have entered your user ID and your password, it's going to pop up another screen. And like I mentioned way earlier in the conversation, you're going to select plan sponsor. And once you hit submit, it's going to take you to what we call our landing page. Now, to submit your census or your file, you're going to select administrative services again, but you're going to select the census and file upload. When you do that, there's going to be a section where it allows you to select the file type from the drop-down box that you will be sending to us for that census information, whether it be an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's a PDF, whether it's in Word. It's going to allow you to tell us what type of file that you're going to be uploading to us. After you've selected that, you are going to hit submit, and we're automatically going to be notified that something securely has been submitted to us using the secure process. It automatically, right away tells us, Sally Sue has sent a secure file through our secure website for your viewing. So if you would like to verify that, you can always, email or call your plan consultant, but please be aware, anything that's ever securely sent through that website, automatically we're notified. So we know that you've put something out there important for us to do for your work. And if you've forgotten your user ID or password, there's a couple different ways. You can email the Gemini at definiti-llc.com once again to request your user ID or password or both be sent to you again. You can call us at the 800-882-4026, option number 2, and speak to somebody, or I sound like a broken record, you may always call your plan consultant. We can help you get that information if it's been changed, if it needs to be changed. We're here. We're here for you. We would love to help you. A lot of times this is sent to the main contact. If that main contact has changed, you may not know the user ID or password. Please feel free to use one of these methods or give your plan consultant a call so that we can get you that information so you can reach the secure website. I think I am at the end of my slides. And I see that we have a question. Oh, okay. A question came in, and I believe this is in regards to the Secure Act that passed for the part-time employees. Is that per year or a total of the 3 years for the part-time employees? That's a good question. So the employee would need to work every year for the prior 3 years, anywhere between 500 and 999 hours. So it's each year. So it's not the total, it's each year they'd have to work that. And I'm sure that Brooke will go into much further detail tomorrow when she discusses this, because this is an important point for a lot of people, especially since this is the remedial statement period. there are a lot of things to consider, especially if you're a larger client and have a lot of employees. So it's something to be aware of that you can ask questions on to see if this is, how this will best work for you and the plan. Does anybody else have any questions? I covered quite a bit. Let's see.
So I think you got a question in the chat as well.
Yeah. Will be provided. Will the instruction be provided when you go to the landing page? I believe there is something on the landing page. If there isn't, we do have other things that we can give you. And I believe in the email itself, there's a lot of explanation about where to go and what to get. So if you have any questions, if something's not there that you can't see and you need further information on, please let us know, because we've got lots of documentation. Elke provides us with a lot of information, and they're plain consultants. We know this inside and out. So it should be there. But if it's not, please call.
The big lesson for today. If you don't know the answer, call your RPC.